Chad back again with another video. We're going into a different guy this week. We got Joshua. Now, Joshua was the leader after Moses. So after Moses struck the rock instead of speaking to it, like we talked about last week, the Israelites had to wander for 40 years in the desert. That's a long time. But God needed to know that the Israelites trusted Him. So, in that time, Moses, he actually passed away. And there came a new leader, and his name, like I already said, was Joshua. We're going to talk about how Joshua learned to trust God. Like Moses had done in his previous things, Joshua saw all those things that Moses had done, and Joshua, he trusted in God. So we're going to talk about the Battle of Jericho and how Joshua trusted God. Without further ado, here we go. Joshua became the new leader of the Israelites.
That's me.
God chose Joshua for this job and gave him great encouragement. "Remember, I am with you wherever you go," said the Lord. Taking control of the promised land was not going to be easy. There were many cities and many armies to conquer, but God's people were ready. They had the strongest weapon on their side, the Almighty God. Joshua began to think about the battle to come. Jericho was large and sturdy. It would be a challenge for most armies, but Joshua wasn't worried. "The Lord is on our side," he reminded himself. Even God's unusual plan for victory didn't concern the leader. He witnessed God's power all of his life and trusted God and his plan that it would work. God told Joshua it would take 7 days to conquer Jericho. On the first 6 days, the army marched around the city once each day. 7 priests blew their trumpets as they marched along. On the 7th day, the army got ready at dawn and began their daily maneuvers around Jericho. They marched 7 times around the walls of the city. God's big plan came into action. Four. 5. 6. 'And on the 7th time around, Joshua commanded,
"The Lord gave us this city. Shout, soldiers, shout."
The priests blew their trumpets as hard as they could, and the soldiers shouted with all their might. Ah! The walls of Jericho shook, and then they came crashing down. Joshua and his army walked right into Jericho and claimed it for the Israelite people, just as God had promised.
This is God's land now.
Hey everybody, I hope you enjoyed that video. Hope it was lots of fun. And just a disclaimer, no equipment was harmed in the making of this video. We'll see you next week. And remember,
Jesus loves you.